Hi, I'm Nick Shell, and you're watching this video, I assume, because you watched me perform my newest song that I've written called I Love You So Much That It Hurts. If you haven't seen me perform that song, of course there will be a link below and you can watch the 3-minute video of me recording this song. So for years now, I do at least one new original song on average per month. So that's about 12 per year, like to equal about an album a year. This is just for me. I'm not trying to become famous by songwriting. I do this for me. I learned so much about myself, and I think ultimately that's what's interesting about this song, is it really puts a spotlight on the whole concept of that. So what I'll be doing is I'll go through the lyrics of the song and explain the inspiration for it. So again, this is called I Love You So Much That It Hurts. So what inspired this song? So I wrote this basically a month ago. My wife went on a trip. She was away a couple days, and during that time, it just kind of did feel empty and sad. I felt more vulnerable emotionally, or whatever, I guess is the way you'd say it. And of course, this is all in connection with this year. What I have made it my challenge is to become more vulnerable with my emotions. But as I've researched it, I don't really feel vulnerable emotions very often. Like, at this point in my life, it's joy, it's passion. That's about it. I don't even really get angry, I'd say, at this point. But definitely not feeling, let's say, shame or fear. Anything that would make me not feel strong or have this idea that I'm strong, I typically, the way I function, I just don't live my life that way. And so what I have learned in the process so far this year in 2025 is that still though, as a human being who does have emotions in there somewhere, those vulnerable emotions, I need to connect with people who do make me feel those emotions. And that ultimately provides growth for me. So that's a theory that I've come up with, and so far it's definitely been true. So what I've realized, and you know, this isn't just about my wife, it's also about my kids, it's about my family, like my parents, my sister and other, like my friends, people that I'm close to. What I'm realizing is that through them, I do feel these vulnerable emotions. That's ultimately the concept of this song. And I would say specifically for me as a man, it's that I think a lot of men feel this way, is that our role is to not be vulnerable emotionally, is to basically just make decisions, be stoic, and also be happy, to lead the way with that, and let everybody else have those vulnerable emotions. But still somewhere, men are wired to feel these things, but it's almost like have to seek them out. How can I feel sadness? How can I feel fear? How can I feel shame? How can I feel these things without actually feeling them independently and therefore broadcasting them out to everybody around me who ultimately needs me to be emotionally strong, meaning that I'm not emotionally vulnerable, and that instead I lead with passion and joy. So that's the paradox of being a man. And specifically for me, as I've finally uncovered this year, that I am actually an Enneagram 8, the personality already that's hardwired to be passionate and to be full of joy and to lead with ultimately the power of no, the person who's strong enough to make those decisions. With that being said, here are the lyrics of the song. I love you so much that it hurts. I feel it like a fire that burns. Nothing I could do on earth could express it enough. I love you so much I want to cry. I feel it like the darkness of the night. I'll need more than one life. This isn't enough. So that's the chorus of this song. And I think largely what inspired the words to that is I think specifically of my kids. You know, they're constantly growing up right in front of me. I do everything I can to capture every moment and to live in that moment. But I see them grow up and I celebrate that. But after this life is over, who knows exactly what happens and what that looks like. I have to assume this is all that there is. in some way for my brain to kind of accept it and to cope with it. But here's to hoping that the next life I will still have them in the same capacity that I do now, where I feel connected to them. So when I say this life isn't enough, I don't have enough time and space and the way to express love for people that I love that are near me. One life isn't enough. So the two verses here. So the first one, the only way I have access to the emotion of sadness is you. The only time I feel empty, like I'm lost, is simply through you. And that is a fact. If you're me, that is how it is. I don't have access to sadness. I don't feel empty or like I'm needing something else, but except in connection with this, I guess we'd call it even a scarcity mindset, which I don't carry with me, but as it relates to people that I love and I care for, there is a scarcity mindset. Time is constantly going, and we don't know how many days we have left, any of us. So I come to terms with that fact. And the second verse is very similar, but I just kind of fill in the blanks through Mad Lib a little bit differently. The only way I can get near to the emotion of fear is you. The only time I feel weakness, like I might not beat this, is through you. So those are all the lyrics to the song. But ultimately, when I say that I might not beat this, see, for me, I was talking to my wife about this. We've talked about it many times. Confidence is not a thing for me. Like, I don't feel insecure. I don't feel bad about myself. I don't feel that I'm not enough. And I don't walk around thinking, oh, I'm confident. But what I'm learning as I've talked to my family and my friends and coworkers, by default, I am a walking example of confidence. And I've always been that way. And I'm just taking it for granted because that's how I function. But also, if you're like me, let's call it Enneagram 8 or whatever you want to call it, a stoic male, a sigma male, whatever you want to call it, is because of that function, let's call it natural confidence. Well, I also don't have room for the vulnerable emotions, sadness, fear, shame. So this is me as a 43-year-old man about to turn 44. I'm coming to terms with this is who I am, and that's okay. I have these gifts. I have the gift of being emotionally strong and leading people in a positive way. But ultimately, for things to be balanced in the end, I have to find a way to connect to people in ways that will allow me to empathize or feel this sense of emotion that would normally not be there. Thanks for watching this video. This has been a very deep and almost heavy process to write this song, and it feels relieved. It feels relieving, like, now that I've got this done. I'd love to hear from you. You can leave the comments below, also where you can click the link to hear me perform the song.